Today, Stuart will be completing his 10th and final speech from his Competent Communicator Manual. The goal of his speech is to inspire the audience for this assignment. He has written a versatile speech that could be used in a variety of hypothetical situations, including talking to a wrestling team at the beginning of the year or inspiring a group of Toastmasters to reach their potential. Anita, the time for his speech is going to be 8 to 10 minutes. Do you have the title on here?
I'll probably go with Takeoff.
Takeoff, there you go. All right, it's Takeoff. So please welcome Stuart for his 10th and final speech.
Cold turkey, that's a good day, good word for today. Without preparation, withdrawal. Okay, good. I like it. Do you guys believe it's the end of the year already? There's two ways to look at it. It's either the end of this year or it's almost the beginning of the next year. You know, it's already cold out. Everyone's starting to plan for the upcoming year 2019. Everyone always wants to try to make the most out of the year. When I was putting together this speech, I was thinking, in the assignment it said to pick out a hypothetical situation where you'd be likely to give an inspirational speech. Naturally, the most likely situation where I'll try to inspire people is probably the beginning of a wrestling season, talking to a team, whether it's one of the local high schools or the college that I wrestled at. A lot of the time they've brought me in a few times to speak to the team, so I figured why not go ahead and put something together that I'll be able to use in the future. As I got into it, I realized that these points aren't just beneficial for wrestlers or for college athletes. This is something that anybody can use when striving towards accomplishing a large goal. This is something that any of the Toastmasters would be able to get a lot out of when planning to make the most out of 2019. Today I'm going to give you 3 tips to make the most out of your year. I want you to write down your goals, use the planner, and create a to-do list. I think everybody should use a planner. You go through your life and it's so easy to get caught up in tasks that just aren't very important. You have something really important coming up, you put together a big proposal for a client maybe, and the next thing you know you're spending 45 minutes deep cleaning your kitchen and you need to have this huge proposal done the next day. So I think it's extremely important to plan it out. Put on your schedule exactly when you're going to work on different things, and that way you can also monitor how you spend your time. A lot of people, you'll ask them how they spend your time. How many hours a week do you work? How many hours a week do you watch TV? How many hours a week do you do this? And they're not sure. I think that this thing right here in your pocket is one of the most time-consuming things we have. And it's amazing. We have this great piece of technology, very expensive, very powerful, and somehow people end up using this to make less money because they're just sitting there hanging out on social media, make themselves less productive with this very powerful tool. An amazing statistic I saw that blew me away a little bit is that the average person watches 4 hours of TV a day. I saw another study that said 5. When you think about it, that's a part-time job. Right? And with the amount of debt that so many people are in, it's like if you take that part-time job and put it towards, being productive, whether it's making money or whether it's, working on a charity that's really important to you, that part-time job could go towards something that's very meaningful instead of just binge watching the big season of what do people watch these days? Any popular shows out here?
Schitt's Creek, man, that's hilarious.
So using a planner will really let you break down exactly how you're seeing your day, using your days, and I even like to write down things after they've happened. So if I get done, I'll go back and I'll make sure that the planner properly reflects what I did that day. The next key is to write down your goals. You want to plan where you want to be in 5 years, 10 years, or at the end of your life. Otherwise, it's kind of like a ship out at sea without a compass. Yeah, you're making progress, yeah, you're moving forward, but are you going in the direction that you want to go? Something that's helped me out a lot is breaking my goals down into manageable steps. I'll write my goals down for 10 years from now, figure out exactly where I want to be, write it down in detail, just as much detail as possible for that 10-year goal, and then start pulling it back. What do I have to do in 5 years to be on track to hit that 10-year goal? What do I have to do in 1 year to be on track for the 5-year? And then really break it down into manageable everyday steps. Even you can set these huge goals for 10 years from now, and it might just turn into an hour a week for the next 10 years might be able to help you hit these big goals. But if you don't write it down and figure out exactly where you'd like to be and what you'd like to do, then how will you know to spend that hour every week? And how will you know how much time it'll take to achieve those goals? Another analogy I really like for that one is, I used it in my last speech, and I'd like to go ahead and throw it in again, is the marksman in the fog. You can say that you want to help a lot of people, you can say that you have this charity that you really want to do, but if you don't set out those manageable steps, you're kind of like a marksman in the fog. You can be great, you can say, oh, the target's that way about 50 yards, but you can't quite see it. So really iron it down to all of the details so you'll know exactly where you're going. The third key is to create a to-do list. Every time I find out that I have an upcoming assignment, upcoming project, I write it down on my to-do list. This is the easiest way to keep track of everything that needs to be done. There's a variety of different ways. You've probably all heard somebody give their input on how to do a to-do list. You can do the 1, 2, 3 based on the importance. You can do the letters, whether it's urgent and important, or just urgent and not urgent. There's a variety of different ways to do it, but I think it's just as simple as just putting A or B. A is something you need to do immediately, and B is something that can wait a little bit. Find something that works for you so you can keep track of everything you need to do. Another great way to do it is to put dates next to it. If there's a date that it has to be done by, then you can put that next to it, and make sure that you're working through your to-do list in the right order. So once again, you're not deep cleaning your kitchen when you should be working on a huge assignment that's due the next day. The bonus tip is to work hard. Working hard will always take you to where you need to be. It's so easy to sit back and get distracted by things, but if you can focus on your goal and make the most out of every hour, then the days will take care of themselves. Work hard and you will succeed. I heard a great analogy about a plane. Anyone that's familiar with planes, anyone that's ridden in a plane knows that you get on the plane, you're sitting on the runway, go speeding down the runway, and then you take off, right? What happens if you don't get to the 150 miles per hour or so that it takes for the plane to take off? You just stay on the runway the entire time. You're just going to keep going down that runway. It's very important to use a lot of energy, build up that momentum early on so you can take off and then you can coast. You're not going to keep going full speed. You're not going to keep burning up the fuel once you get in the air, because it's going to burn up all the fuel, it's going to burn up the engines. Once you're in the air, that's when you can start to coast. You need to work hard so you can get to that flying speed and get those wheels off the ground. So in order to reach your goals and make the most out of 2019, you need to write down your goals, use a planner, create a to-do list, and work hard. And you'll all see those wheels pick up off the ground.